10 assets that pay while you sleep. Introduction. You were told a lie. Work hard. Climb the ladder. Put in your hours. Stay loyal. Get promoted. Retire comfortably. That was the deal, wasn't it? Exchange your time for money. And if you do it long enough, you'll be fine. Except you're not fine. You're tired. You're working more than ever and still watching your bank account like it's on life support. You're one bad month away from financial chaos, and the retirement plan you've been sold requires you to work until you're too old to enjoy it. Here's the truth they don't teach you in school, at your job, or in those feel-good finance books. Time for money is a losing game. There are only so many hours in a day, only so much energy in your body, only so many years before burnout becomes your full-time job. The people who break free, the ones who actually build wealth, they figured out something different. They stopped trading time for money and started building assets that pay while they sleep. That's not motivational fluff. It's math. It's strategy. And it's the only way to stop being a prisoner to your paycheck. The single income trap. Right now, most people have one income stream, their job, one source, one point of failure. If that job disappears, everything collapses. If you get sick, the money stops. If you want time off, you're burning through savings or going into debt. One income stream isn't financial security. It's financial Russian roulette. The wealthy don't live like this. They build multiple income-generating assets, things that pay them whether they show up or not. Stocks that send dividend checks. Rental properties where tenants cover the mortgage. Digital products that sell while they're on vacation. Businesses that run on systems, not their personal effort. They don't work harder. They build smarter. What qualifies as an asset? Not everything you own is an asset. Your car? Not an asset. It's losing value every day. Your wardrobe? Nope. Your flat-screen TV? Definitely not. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket without requiring your active time and effort. It works when you don't. It generates cash flow while you sleep, travel, or binge-watch Netflix. In this book, we're covering 10 proven assets that everyday people use to build passive and semi-passive income. Some require money up front. Some require creativity. Some require patience. But all of them share one thing. They pay you long after the initial effort is done. How this book works. Each chapter breaks down one asset. You'll learn what it is and why it works. Real-world examples of people building income from it. The pros, cons, and realistic expectations. 3 specific actions you can take immediately. Those 3 actions? They're critical. This isn't a book you read and forget. It's a playbook. At the end of every chapter, you'll have 3 concrete steps to move from theory to execution. If you're turning this into a journal, those actions are your roadmap. You don't need all 10 assets. You need the right 2 or 3 that fit your situation, skills, and starting capital. Some of you will love real estate. Others will thrive with digital products. Some will stack dividend stocks, while others license intellectual property. The goal isn't to do everything. The goal is to stop relying on one income stream and start building a portfolio of assets that pay you forever. Let's get to work. Chapter 1. Dividend-Paying Stocks. If you've never earned money while doing absolutely nothing, dividend-paying stocks are about to change that. Here's how it works. You buy shares in a company. That company makes a profit. Instead of keeping all the profit, they send you a chunk of it, every single quarter, just for owning the stock. You didn't work for it. You didn't trade your time. You just owned a piece of a business, and the business paid you. That's a dividend. And if you think this is only for rich people with millions in the market, you're wrong. You can start with $100. You can start with $50. The amount doesn't matter. What matters is that you start building an income stream that doesn't require you to clock in. Why dividends are the gateway drug to passive income. Most people think of stocks as something you buy low and sell high. A gamble, a casino, a way to lose your shirt if you don't know what you're doing. And sure, if you're day trading based on Reddit threads, that's exactly what it is. But dividend investing is different. You're not trying to time the market. You're not obsessing over price swings. You're collecting cash payments from profitable companies over and over again for as long as you hold the shares. Some companies have been paying dividends for 50+ years. Through recessions, through market crashes, through global pandemics. They just keep paying. The best part? You can reinvest those dividends to buy more shares, which pay more dividends, which buy more shares. It's a compounding snowball that grows whether you're paying attention or not. The compounding magic. Let's say you invest $5,000 in a dividend stock that pays 4% annually. That's $200 a year in dividends. Not life-changing, right? But here's where it gets interesting. You take that $200 and use it to buy more shares. Now you own more stock. Next year, you're earning dividends on your original $5,000 plus the new shares you just bought. The year after that, the cycle repeats. Fast forward 20 years with consistent reinvestment and regular contributions, and that $5,000 has turned into a portfolio generating thousands per year without you lifting a finger. That's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a get-rich-inevitable strategy. Common mistakes beginners make. Mistake number 1. Chasing the highest yield. A stock paying 10% dividends sounds amazing until you realize the company is bleeding cash and about to cut the dividend entirely. High yield often equals high risk. Focus on dividend growth. Companies that consistently increase their payouts year after year. Mistake number 2. Not reinvesting. If you're taking those dividend checks and spending them, you're missing the entire point. Reinvest them. Let them buy more shares. Let the snowball roll. Mistake number 3. Picking one stock and calling it done. Diversification matters. If your entire dividend income comes from one company and that company tanks, you're screwed. Spread your investments across multiple dividend-paying stocks or use a dividend-focused ETF to own hundreds at once. Real-life snapshot. $200 per month builds a dividend engine. Meet Jordan. He's 32, works in marketing, and started investing $200 a month into dividend stocks 3 years ago. He's not rich. He's not a finance genius. He just automated his contributions and reinvested every dividend. After 3 years, his portfolio is worth about $8,500. It's generating roughly $340 a year in dividends, about $28 a month. Not enough to quit his job, but enough to cover his phone bill without thinking about it. But here's the kicker. If Jordan keeps this up for another 17 years, his portfolio could be worth over $85,000, generating about $3,400 a year in dividends. That's nearly $300 a month in passive income, just for owning stocks. And if he never adds another dollar after year 20 and just lets it ride for another decade, that portfolio could be spitting out $6,000 plus per year. All because he started with $200 a month and didn't stop. Why this works for anyone. You don't need a finance degree. You don't need to watch CNBC. You don't need to stress over earnings reports. You just need to pick solid, dividend-paying companies or funds. Set up automatic investments. Reinvest the dividends. Repeat for years. The market will go up. The market will go down. Your dividends will keep coming. Your 3 actions. Action 1. Pick your first dividend stock or ETF. Research beginner-friendly dividend aristocrats. Companies that have increased their dividends for 25-plus consecutive years. Examples include Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson, and Procter & Gamble. Or go with a dividend ETF like SCHD or VYM to own hundreds of dividend payers at once. Action 2. Set up automatic dividend reinvestment, DRIP. When you buy shares through a brokerage, enable DRIP. This automatically uses your dividend payments to buy more shares. No effort required. It's compounding on autopilot. Action 3. Commit to a monthly contribution. Decide on an amount you can invest every single month. $50, $100, $500, whatever fits your budget. Set up an automatic transfer from your checking account to your brokerage account. Treat it like a bill you can't skip. Dividend stocks aren't flashy. They won't make you a millionaire overnight, but they will pay you, reliably, for as long as you own them. And that's the whole point. Chapter 2. Rental real estate, revised. Real estate is the asset class that's minted more millionaires than anything else on this list. Not because it's easy, not because it's passive from day one, but because it's one of the few investments where someone else pays off your asset while you build equity. Think about that for a second. You buy a property. A tenant moves in. They pay you rent every month. That rent covers your mortgage, your property taxes, your insurance, and if you bought smart, puts a little extra in your pocket. Meanwhile, the property is appreciating in value. You're getting paid. Your loan is getting paid down. Your asset is growing in worth. All at the same time. That's why people obsess over real estate. It's leverage in its purest form. The tenant pays your mortgage strategy. Let's break down the simplest version of this. You buy a $250,000 rental property. You put down $50,000, 20%. You finance the other $200,000 with a mortgage at, say, 6.5% interest over 30 years. Your monthly mortgage payment is around $1,260. Add in property taxes, $200 per month, insurance, $100 per month, and a maintenance buffer, $150 per month, and your total monthly cost is roughly $1,710. You rent the property for $2,000 a month. That's $290 in positive cash flow, money in your pocket after all expenses. Over a year, that's $3,480. Not bad for an asset you're not actively working. But here's the real magic. Every month, part of that mortgage payment is paying down your loan balance. You're building equity. In 10 years, you might have $60,000 plus in equity from loan paydown alone, not counting appreciation. In 30 years, the mortgage is paid off. That $2,000 per month rent is almost entirely yours. That's $24,000 a year from one property. Now imagine owning 3 properties. Or 5. The house hacking shortcut. Don't have $50,000 sitting around for a down payment? House hacking is your entry point. Here's how it works. You buy a duplex, triplex, or fourplex. You live in one unit. You rent out the others. The rental income from your tenants covers most, or all, of your mortgage. You're living for free, or nearly free, while building equity in a property. After a year or 2, you move out, rent your old unit, and repeat the process with another property. This is how people go from 0 rental properties to a small portfolio in 5 years without needing massive upfront capital. They use low down payment loans, like FHA loans with 3.5% down, live in the property to qualify, then convert it to a full rental once they move. It's not glamorous. You're living next to your tenants. You're dealing with maintenance. But it's one of the fastest ways to break into real estate without a trust fund. Breaking down the numbers on a typical rental. Let's look at a real example. You buy a single-family home in a mid-sized market for $180,000. You put down $36,000, 20%. Your mortgage payment is about $950 per month. Property taxes run $150 per month. Insurance is $80 per month. You budget $100 per month for maintenance and repairs. Total monthly expenses, $1,280. You rent the property for $1,550 per month. That's $270 in monthly cash flow, or $3,240 per year. Now factor in appreciation. Historically, real estate appreciates around 3 to 4% annually. If your property appreciates at 3%, that's an extra $5,400 in equity gained in year 1 alone. And don't forget, your tenant is paying down your mortgage. In the first year, roughly $3,000 of your mortgage payments go toward principal, equity you now own. Add it up. Cash flow, $3,240. Appreciation, $5,400. Loan paydown, $3,000. Total annual return, $11,640. That's a 32% return on your $36,000 down payment. Show me a savings account that does that. Can't afford a property? Enter REITs. Here's the reality. Not everyone has $30,000 to $50,000 lying around for a down payment. Not everyone wants to deal with tenants, toilets, and termites. And that's fine, because there's another way to own real estate and collect income from it. Real estate investment trusts, or REITs. A REIT is basically a company that owns and operates income-producing real estate, apartment buildings, shopping centers, office towers, warehouses, hotels. You buy shares in the REIT just like you'd buy stock in any company. The REIT collects rent from all its properties, and by law, it has to pay out at least 90% of its taxable income to shareholders as dividends. So you're getting real estate income without buying physical property. No down payment. No maintenance calls, no evictions, just dividend checks. You can start with as little as $100. Some REITs pay dividends monthly, others pay quarterly. The yields typically range from 3% to 7% annually, and many REITs also appreciate in value over time. There are REITs that specialize in residential apartments, others in commercial properties, some in industrial warehouses, even REITs focused on cell towers and data centers. You can buy individual REITs or invest in REIT-focused funds that own a diversified basket of them. The catch? REITs are traded on the stock market, so their prices fluctuate. You won't have the same control as owning a physical property. And while the dividends are consistent, you're not building equity the same way you would with a mortgage being paid down by a tenant. But if your goal is to get real estate income without the barriers of property ownership, REITs are your ticket in. What they don't tell you: rental real estate isn't purely passive. There are midnight calls about broken water heaters. There are vacancies where you're covering the mortgage out of pocket. There are tenants who stop paying and need to be evicted. If you're managing the property yourself, expect to spend 5 to 10 hours a month dealing with tenant issues, maintenance, and paperwork. If you hire a property manager, they'll take 8 to 10% of your rent, which eats into your cash flow but buys back your time. The key is this: real estate pays you for solving problems. Find a property in a decent area with strong rental demand. Run the numbers conservatively and plan for the headaches. The returns make it worth it. When real estate makes sense, you need enough cash for a down payment or creativity to house hack with less. A market where rents cover your expenses with room to spare. The willingness to deal with tenants and maintenance or pay someone to do it. A long-term mindset. Real estate is not a get-rich-quick flip unless you're actively rehabbing. If you can check those boxes, rental real estate is one of the most reliable wealth-building tools on the planet. And if you can't check them yet, REITs let you participate with whatever capital you have while you build toward physical ownership. Your 3 actions. Action 1. Calculate how much you need for a down payment. Look at your finances. How much can you realistically save in the next 12 to 24 months for a down payment? If traditional 20% down feels impossible, research FHA loans, VA loans, if you're a veteran, or house hacking strategies that allow smaller down payments. If property ownership feels out of reach, decide how much you can invest in REITs this month. Write down your target number and your plan. Action 2. Research cash flowing markets or REIT options. Not every city works for rental properties. Some markets have sky-high prices and weak rents. You'll lose money every month. Research online to compare home prices to rental rates in different areas. Find 3 cities or neighborhoods where the numbers actually work. Look for places where rent covers your mortgage plus expenses with at least $200 per month left over. Or, if REITs are your path, research residential, commercial, and industrial REITs to see which sectors interest you. Action 3. Find one property listing or buy your first REIT share. Search online real estate listings. Find one actual property for sale in a market you identified. Run the numbers. What's the purchase price? What would the mortgage be? What's it renting for? Does it cash flow? You're not buying it today. You're training your brain to evaluate deals. Or open a brokerage account and purchase shares in one REIT. Start small. Get skin in the game. Watch your first dividend payment arrive. Rental real estate isn't for everyone. But if you're willing to learn, do the math, and tolerate a little mess, it's an asset that pays you monthly, builds equity automatically, and compounds wealth faster than almost anything else. And if you're not ready for that yet, REITs give you a seat at the table with whatever you can invest today. Chapter 3. Digital products. This is the asset for the internet age. The one that costs almost nothing to create, nothing to store, and nothing to deliver, but can pay you forever. You make it once. You sell it 1,000 times, 10,000 times, 100,000 times, and every sale is pure profit after the first one. Welcome to digital products, the create once, sell forever model that's turning regular people into income-generating machines while they sleep, travel, or work their day jobs. The create once, sell forever model. Here's the beautiful simplicity of digital products. You create something, a guide, a template, a course, a checklist, a toolkit, and you sell it over and over again without ever running out of inventory. No manufacturing costs, no shipping, no warehouse, no restocking. You build it once, upload it to a platform, and it sits there generating sales while you do literally anything else. Compare that to a service business. If you're a consultant charging $200 per hour, you have to show up for every single hour to get paid. Miss a day, lose the income. Take a vacation, the money stops. But a digital product? It doesn't care if you're awake. It doesn't care if you're on a beach in Thailand or asleep in your bed. Someone finds it, buys it, downloads it, and you get paid. Automatically. That's leverage. That's passive income. That's freedom. From ebooks to templates to online courses. Digital products come in all shapes and sizes. Here are the most common. Ebooks and guides. You write a 30 to 50-page guide on something you know. How to negotiate a raise. How to meal prep for muscle gain. How to start a side hustle. You sell it for $10 to $30. People download it instantly. Templates and tools, spreadsheets, planners, budgeting trackers, resume templates, social media calendars. You build it once in a tool people already use, package it, and sell it. Designers sell Canva templates. Finance nerds sell budget spreadsheets. Productivity junkies sell Notion templates. Online courses, you record videos teaching a skill. Editing photos, playing guitar, coding basics, public speaking. You upload the course to a platform, and people pay to access it. Some courses sell for $50. Others sell for $500. The content is the same whether one person buys it or 1,000 do. Checklists and frameworks. Sometimes people don't need a whole course. They need a step-by-step checklist or a proven framework. The wedding planning checklist. The product launch roadmap. The freelancer contract template. Charge $15 to $50 and watch it sell to people who just want the shortcut. You don't need to be the world's leading expert to create any of these. You just need to know more than the person buying it. Why you don't need to be an expert. Here's the lie that stops most people. I'm not an expert. Who would buy from me? Wrong question. The right question is, do I know something that would save someone time, money, or frustration? If the answer is yes, you can sell it. You don't need a PhD. You don't need 1 million followers. You need to be 3 steps ahead of your buyer and willing to package what you know into something useful. Someone out there is struggling with something you figured out 2 years ago. They'll pay you to skip the learning curve. You learned how to land freelance clients on online platforms? Sell a guide. You build a meal prep system that saves you 10 hours a week. Sell the templates. You figured out how to negotiate better rates with contractors? Record a course. The market doesn't reward the most knowledgeable person. It rewards the person who packages knowledge in a way that's easy to consume and apply. Your 3 actions. Action 1. Identify your knowledge area. Make a list of 5 things you know how to do that other people struggle with. It could be work-related, managing projects, writing proposals, cold emailing. It could be life-related, budgeting, fitness routines, organizing a home. It could be hobby-related, photography basics, cooking techniques, gaming strategies. Pick the one that people ask you about most often or the one you're most confident teaching. That's your starting point. Action 2. Outline your first digital product. Don't build the whole thing yet. Just outline it. If it's a guide, write down the 7 to 10 main sections or chapters. If it's a template, sketch what it needs to include. If it's a course, list the 5 to 8 lessons you teach. The outline forces you to organize your knowledge and proves to yourself that you have enough material to sell. Spend 30 minutes on this. No overthinking. Just get it on paper. Action 3. Choose your selling platform. You need somewhere to host and sell your product. For ebooks and guides, platforms exist where you upload a PDF and they handle payment and delivery. For templates, there are marketplaces for spreadsheets, design files, and productivity tools. For courses, look into online learning platforms that host your videos and manage student access. Research 3 platforms that fit your product type. Pick one. Create an account. You don't need to launch today. You just need to know where your product will live when it's ready. Digital products won't make you rich overnight, but they will pay you long after the work is done. And unlike almost every other asset on this list, you can start with $0 and build something that generates income within weeks. That's the power of create once, sell forever. Chapter 4. Index funds and ETFs. If dividend stocks are the gateway drug to passive income, index funds are the set-it-and-forget-it wealth machine that does the heavy lifting while you live your life. No stock picking, no research, no guessing which company is going to explode or implode. You buy the entire market, sit back, and let capitalism do what it does best, grow over time. This is the asset that financial advisors, billionaires, and Nobel Prize-winning economists all agree on. It's boring. It's unsexy, and it works better than almost anything else. The set-it-and-forget-it wealth machine. Here's what an index fund is. Instead of buying shares in one company, you buy shares in a fund that owns hundreds or thousands of companies at once. Want to own a piece of every major company in the US stock market? There's an index fund for that. Want to own the 500 largest companies in America? There's an index fund for that too. Want exposure to international markets, emerging economies, or specific sectors like technology or healthcare. Index funds exist for all of it. You're not betting on individual winners. You're betting on the market as a whole. And historically, over long periods, the market goes up. The S&P 500, an index of the 500 largest U.S. companies, has averaged about 10% annual returns over the past several decades. Some years it's up 20%. Some years it's down 15%. But zoom out over 10, 20, 30 years, and the trend is clear, up and to the right. You don't need to watch the news. You don't need to panic when the market dips. You just keep buying, month after month, and let time do the work. Why index funds beat 95% of active investors. Here's a dirty secret of the finance industry. Most professional fund managers, people with Ivy League degrees, teams of analysts, and billions of dollars under management, can't beat the market consistently. Study after study shows that over 10-year periods, around 85 to 95% of actively managed funds underperform a basic index fund. They charge higher fees, make complex trades, and still lose to the boring strategy of just owning everything. Why? Because markets are efficient. Information spreads fast. It's nearly impossible to consistently outsmart millions of other investors. And every trade costs money in fees and taxes, which eats into returns. Index funds don't try to be clever. They just own the market. And because they're passively managed, no traders making bets, no constant buying and selling, their fees are dirt cheap. Some charge as little as 0.03% per year. That means for every $10,000 you invest, you're paying $3 annually in fees. Compare that to actively managed funds that charge 1 to 2% per year. Over decades, those fees compound against you, costing you tens of thousands in lost returns. Low fees, broad diversification, consistent long-term growth. That's why index funds are the default wealth-building tool for people who don't want to gamble. The power of dollar-cost averaging. Dollar-cost averaging is a fancy term for a simple strategy. Invest the same amount of money at regular intervals, no matter what the market is doing. Let's say you invest $500 every month into an index fund. Some months, the market is up and your $500 buys fewer shares. Other months, the market is down and your $500 buys more shares. Over time, you average out the cost of your investments. This does two things. First, it removes emotion from investing. You're not trying to time the market or wait for the perfect moment to buy. You just invest consistently, month after month, regardless of headlines or price swings. Second, it forces you to buy more shares when prices are low. Market crashes? Great, your $500 buys more. Market booms? Fine, you're still building wealth. The people who get rich from index funds aren't the ones who try to get clever. They're the ones who automate their contributions and ignore the noise. Historical returns and realistic expectations. Let's be clear, index funds are not a get-rich-quick scheme. They're a get-rich-slow and steady system. If you invest $500 per month into an index fund averaging 10% annual returns, here's what happens. After 10 years, $102,000. After 20 years, $380,000. After 30 years, $130,000. That's over $1 million. From $500 per month. No stock picking, no timing, just consistent contributions and compound growth. Now, will you actually get 10% every year? No. Some years will be minus 20%. Others will be plus 30%. The market is volatile in the short term, but over decades, the average holds. The key is this: you have to stay in the game. The people who lose with index funds are the ones who panic sell during downturns and miss the recovery. The ones who win are the ones who keep buying through the dips and let time smooth out the chaos. Why this works for anyone? You don't need to understand economics. You don't need to read financial statements. You don't need to care about interest rates, inflation data, or earnings reports. You just need to open a brokerage account, pick a low-cost index fund, automate monthly investments, leave it alone for decades. That's it. That's the whole strategy. And because index funds are so simple and cheap, they work for anyone, whether you're investing $100 per month or $10,000 per month. The principles are the same. Your 3 actions. Action 1. Open a brokerage account. You need a place to buy index funds. Research online brokers that offer commission-free trading and low fees. Look for ones that make it easy to set up automatic investments. Most accounts can be opened in under 15 minutes. Do it today. Don't wait until you know more. You'll learn by doing. Action 2. Pick your first index fund. Start simple. Look for broad market index funds that track the total stock market or the largest 500 companies. Check the expense ratio. Anything under 0.1% is excellent. Read a few quick reviews or summaries to understand what the fund holds. Pick one. You're not marrying it. You're starting. You can always adjust later. Action 3. Automate monthly investments. Decide how much you can invest every month. $50, $100, $200. Whatever fits your budget without causing financial stress. Set up an automatic transfer from your bank account to your brokerage account, and set the brokerage to automatically invest that money into your chosen index fund. Make it so automatic that you forget it's happening. That's when the magic starts. Index funds won't give you the thrill of picking a stock that doubles overnight, but they will give you something better, reliable, compounding wealth that grows while you sleep, work, and live your life. And that's exactly what this book is about. Chapter 5. Peer-to-peer lending. What if you could be the bank? What if, instead of keeping your money in a savings account earning 0.5% interest while the bank loans it out at 12%, you cut out the middleman and earn that interest yourself? That's peer-to-peer lending. You lend money directly to individuals or small businesses, and they pay you back with interest. You're not a charity. You're an investor earning returns that crush traditional savings accounts. It's not risk-free, but if you understand how it works and diversify properly, it's one of the few assets that pays you monthly cash flow with relatively small upfront capital. Becoming the bank. How P2P lending works. Here's the basic setup. Online platforms connect people who need money with people who have money to lend. Borrowers apply for loans, maybe to consolidate credit card debt, fund a home improvement project, or cover an emergency expense. Investors like you fund those loans in small increments. You don't fund an entire $10,000 loan yourself. You might put $25 or $50 toward it, and hundreds of other investors do the same. The loan gets funded, the borrower gets their money, and they start making monthly payments. Those payments, principal plus interest, get distributed back to you and the other investors. Every month, money hits your account. You can withdraw it, or you can reinvest it into new loans to compound your returns. The interest rates vary based on the borrower's creditworthiness. Low-risk borrowers with excellent credit might pay 6 to 8% interest. Higher-risk borrowers with shaky credit might pay 15 to 25%. You choose which loans to fund based on your risk tolerance. The platform handles everything: vetting borrowers, collecting payments, distributing funds. You just decide where to put your money. Risk versus reward breakdown. Let's be honest. Peer-to-peer lending is riskier than a savings account or a government bond. Some borrowers default. Some stop paying halfway through. You can lose money on individual loans. But here's the thing. If you diversify correctly, the wins outweigh the losses. Let's say you invest $5,000 across 200 different loans at $25 each. Your average interest rate is 12%. Over the course of a year, most borrowers pay on time. A few default completely. A handful pay late. After defaults and fees, your actual return might be 8 to 10%. That's still 16 to 20 times better than a typical savings account. And that return comes to you monthly, not once a year. Compare that to stocks, where your returns are theoretical until you sell, or real estate, where cash flow depends on tenants and maintenance. P2P lending pays you every single month in cash. The risk is real, but it's manageable. The key is diversification. Diversification strategies to protect your capital. If you put all your money into one loan and that borrower defaults, you lose everything. That's why diversification is non-negotiable in peer-to-peer lending. Rule number 1. Spread your investment across at least 100 to 200 loans. Never put more than 1 to 2% of your total P2P capital into a single loan. If you're investing $2,000, that means $10 to $20 per loan. It feels small, but that's the point. One default won't sink you. Rule number 2. Mix risk levels. Don't chase the highest interest rates exclusively. Yes, a 22% return sounds amazing, but those are the riskiest borrowers. Balance high-risk loans with medium and low-risk ones. A blended portfolio gives you solid returns without gambling everything on borrowers who might disappear. Rule number 3. reinvest your returns. As borrowers make monthly payments, you get chunks of principal and interest back. Don't let that cash sit idle. Reinvest it into new loans immediately. This compounds your returns and keeps your money working. Rule number 4, start small and scale. Don't dump your life savings into P2P lending on day one. Start with $500 or $1,000. Learn how the platform works. Watch your first defaults happen because they will. Once you understand the rhythm, add more capital, platforms, and how to get started. Peer-to-peer lending platforms vary by country and region, but the concept is the same everywhere. Individuals or businesses borrow money, and you fund those loans in exchange for interest. Some platforms focus on consumer loans, debt consolidation, personal expenses, medical bills. Others focus on small business loans or real estate-backed loans. Some let you manually pick each loan. Others offer automated investing where algorithms spread your money across loans based on your risk preferences. Do your research. Look for platforms that have a track record of at least 3 to 5 years. Publish transparent default rates and historical returns. Offer some level of borrower vetting, credit checks, income verification. Provide tools for diversification and automated investing. Read the fine print. Understand the fees. Know what happens if a borrower defaults. Some platforms have recovery processes, others don't. And remember, peer-to-peer lending is not FDIC insured like a bank account. If the platform goes under or a borrower vanishes, there's no government bailout. You're the lender. You take the risk. You get the reward. Your 3 actions. Action 1. Research 2P2P lending platforms. Find platforms available in your country or region. Read reviews. Look at their historical performance data. Check their default rates. Compare their fees. Understand what types of loans they offer: consumer, business, real estate-backed. Write down the pros and cons of each. Pick the one that feels most transparent and aligns with your risk tolerance. Action 2. Calculate your starter investment. Decide how much you're willing to allocate to peer-to-peer lending. This should be money you can afford to lose, not your emergency fund, not your rent money. A reasonable starting amount is $500 to $2,000. Divide that number by 25 or 50 to figure out how much you'll invest per loan. If you're starting with $1,000, that's $20 to $40 per loan across 25 to 50 loans minimum. Write down your total investment amount and your per loan limit. Action 3. Fund your first loan. Open an account on your chosen platform. Transfer your starter capital. Browse available loans. Look at the borrower's credit grade, loan purpose, interest rate, and term length. Pick one loan that fits your criteria and fund it with your per loan amount. Then pick another, and another. Keep going until your capital is spread across at least 25 to 50 loans. If the platform offers automated investing, set your risk preferences and let it diversify for you. Watch your first payment come in next month. Peer-to-peer lending isn't for everyone. It requires more active management than index funds. It carries more risk than bonds. But if you're willing to diversify, stay disciplined, and accept some defaults along the way, it's an asset that pays you monthly income with returns that most savings accounts can't touch. You become the bank, and the bank gets paid. Chapter 6. Royalty-generating content. Imagine creating something once, a song, a photo, a book, a video, and getting paid every single time someone uses it. Not just this month, not just this year, but for years, maybe decades. That's royalty income, and it's one of the purest forms of passive income that exists. You do the work up front, you release it into the world, and then it pays you over and over again, long after you've moved on to the next thing. Musicians do it, authors do it, photographers do it, filmmakers do it. And thanks to the internet, you don't need a record deal or a publishing contract to start collecting royalties anymore. Music, books, photography, stock footage. Royalty-generating content comes in many forms, but they all share the same model. Create once, license forever. Music. You write and record a song. You upload it to streaming platforms or licensing libraries. Every time someone streams it, uses it in a video, plays it in a commercial, or includes it in a film, you get paid. Pennies per stream, maybe, but thousands of streams turn into real money. And if your song gets picked up for a popular ad campaign or viral video, those pennies become serious income. Books. You write a book, fiction, nonfiction, doesn't matter. You publish it on platforms that handle distribution and sales. Every time someone buys your book, you get a royalty, 35% to 70% of the sale price, depending on the platform. A book you wrote 5 years ago can still be selling copies today. And unlike a physical product, digital books never go out of stock. Photography. You take photos, landscapes, cityscapes, lifestyle shots, business imagery, and upload them to stock photo platforms. Websites, advertisers, bloggers, and designers buy licenses to use your images. Every download, every license, you get paid. Some photos sell once. Others sell hundreds of times. Stock footage and video. Same concept as photography, but with video clips. You film high-quality footage, a sunset, a busy street, someone typing on a laptop, and upload it to stock video platforms. Content creators, advertisers, and filmmakers license your clips for their projects. You get paid per download or per license. The beautiful part? You're not trading time for money. You create the content once, and it generates income indefinitely. How creators earn while they sleep. Let's talk about the mechanics. Once your content is live on a platform, the platform does the heavy lifting. They host it. They market it. They process payments. They handle licensing agreements. You just collect the checks. A photographer uploads 500 photos to a stock platform. Over the next year, those photos get licensed 2,000 times at an average royalty of $5 per license. That's $10,000 in passive income from work they did months ago. An author publishes a nonfiction book on budgeting. It sells 50 copies a month at $10 each, with a 60% royalty. That's $300 per month. In 5 years, that's $18,000 from one book they wrote once. A musician uploads 20 instrumental tracks to a licensing library. Videographers and podcasters use those tracks in their content. The musician earns $200 to $500 per month in royalties from tracks they created years ago. This isn't lottery winner money. It's steady, predictable income that compounds as you create more content. One book or one song won't change your life. But 10 books, 50 songs, 1,000 photos? Now you're building a royalty portfolio that pays you every month without you doing anything. The long tail income model. Here's where royalty income gets interesting. The long tail. Most content doesn't make a fortune immediately. A new book might sell a handful of copies in its first month. A new song might get 100 streams. A new photo might get licensed once or twice. But here's the thing. That content doesn't disappear. It sits there, available, searchable, waiting for the right person to find it. Years later, someone discovers your book through a search. Your photo matches exactly what a designer needs. Your song becomes the perfect background track for a viral video. And suddenly, that content you forgot about is generating income again. The long tail means your income grows over time as your catalog expands. The first year, you might make $200 from your content. The second year, $600. The third year, $1,500. Not because any one piece is selling better, but because you keep adding to the catalog and old content keeps finding new buyers. This is why professional stock photographers and authors focus on volume. They're not hoping for one massive hit. They're building a library of hundreds or thousands of pieces, knowing that collectively, those pieces will generate consistent royalty income for years. Real numbers. What royalties actually look like. Let's get specific because royalty income sounds vague and dreamy. Here's what it actually looks like in practice. Stock photography. A hobbyist photographer uploads 300 images over 2 years. They earn an average of 30 cents per download. Those images get downloaded 500 times a month. That's $150 per month in passive income. Not life-changing, but enough to cover a utility bill forever. Self-published books. An author writes and publishes 4 nonfiction books over 3 years. Each book sells 30 to 60 copies per month at $8 to $12 each, with a 60% royalty. Combined, the books generate $800 to $1,200 per month. That's $10,000 to $15,000 per year from work they finished years ago. Music licensing. A composer uploads 30 instrumental tracks to multiple licensing platforms. Videographers, podcasters, and advertisers license those tracks for their projects. The composer earns $300 to $700 per month, depending on how often the tracks are used. Some months are slow. Others spike when a track gets picked up for a popular project. These aren't made-up success stories. These are realistic, Achievable numbers for people who put in the work up front and let the royalties accumulate over time. Your 3 actions. Action 1. Choose your content type. Pick one: music, writing, photography, or video. Don't try to do all 4 at once. Focus on the one you're most skilled at or most interested in. If you play an instrument or produce beats, start with music. If you write well, start with books or articles. If you have a decent camera or smartphone, start with photography. If you can shoot and edit video, start with stock footage. Write down your choice and commit to it for the next 90 days. Action 2. Create and upload one piece. Don't aim for perfection. Don't wait until you have 50 pieces ready. Create one piece of content this week. Write one short ebook or guide. Record one instrumental track. Take and edit 10 high-quality photos. Film and edit one stock video clip. Then upload it to a platform that handles royalty distribution. Get it live. Make it available for purchase or licensing. You'll learn more from uploading one real piece than from planning 100 imaginary ones. Action 3. Track your first royalty payment. Once your content is live, set a reminder to check your royalty dashboard in 30 days. Even if you only made $2, that's $2 you didn't have before, and it came from work you did once. Celebrate that. Then create another piece. And another. Track your progress monthly. Watch the numbers grow as your catalog expands. Royalty-generating content won't make you rich overnight, but it's one of the few assets where your past work keeps paying you indefinitely. Every song, every photo, every book is a small income stream. Build enough of them, and those streams add up to a river. Chapter 7. Automated Online Businesses. Here's the dream. You build a business once. You set up the systems. You automate the processes. And then it runs without you, generating income while you sleep, travel, or work on the next thing. Sound too good to be true? It's not. It's just deliberate. Automated online businesses aren't magic. They're the result of choosing the right model, building the right systems, and removing yourself from the day-to-day operations. Done right, they're income-generating machines that scale without your constant attention. This isn't about working less from the start. It's about working smart up front so you can step back later. Dropshipping, affiliate sites, and subscription models. Let's break down 3 proven models that can be automated. Dropshipping. You sell physical products online without ever touching inventory. A customer orders a product from your store. The order automatically goes to your supplier. The supplier ships directly to the customer. You never warehouse anything. You never pack boxes. You just facilitate the transaction and keep the profit margin. Your job is marketing and customer service, both of which can be outsourced or automated. Affiliate websites. You build a content-driven website around a specific niche: hiking gear, productivity tools, kitchen gadgets, whatever. You write reviews, comparisons, and guides. You embed affiliate links to products. When someone clicks your link and buys, you earn a commission. The content does the selling. The affiliate network handles payment processing. You just drive traffic and collect commissions. Once the content is written and ranking, it generates income passively. Subscription models. You create something people pay for monthly: a membership site, a newsletter, a software tool, a resource library. They subscribe. They get charged automatically every month. You deliver value consistently, but the delivery can be automated or batched. Email sequences can be scheduled. Content can be dripped out automatically. Billing happens without you lifting a finger. All 3 models share a key trait. They separate your time from your income. You're not trading hours for dollars. You're building systems that generate revenue whether you're working or not. Building systems that run without you. Automation is the difference between a business that owns you and a business you own. Here's what automation looks like in practice. Email sequences. A customer signs up for your email list. An automated welcome sequence sends them 5 to 10 emails over the next 2 weeks, building trust and pitching your product. No manual sending. No remembering who got what. The system handles it. Order fulfillment. A customer buys from your store. The order automatically routes to your supplier or warehouse. Tracking information gets emailed to the customer automatically. You never touch the product. Customer service. Common questions get answered by a chatbot or a detailed FAQ. Support tickets get routed to a virtual assistant or outsourced team. You handle escalations only. Content scheduling. Blog posts, social media updates, and videos get created in batches and scheduled weeks in advance. Your content keeps publishing even when you're offline. Payment processing. Subscriptions renew automatically. Invoices get sent automatically. Failed payments trigger automated retry sequences. You're not chasing anyone for money. The goal isn't to eliminate all work. It's to eliminate repetitive, low-value work so you can focus on growth, strategy, or just enjoy your time. The 80/20ths of automation. Not everything needs to be automated. Some things are better done manually, at least in the beginning. The 80/20 rule applies here. 20% of your tasks generate 80% of your results. Automate the 80% that's repetitive and low impact. Keep control of the 20% that actually drives growth. For example, automate email sequences, order processing, social media posting, payment collection, basic customer service. Don't automate yet product selection, marketing strategy, high-value customer relationships, content creation that requires your unique voice. Early on, you'll be hands-on with everything. That's fine. You're learning the business. But as you identify what's repetitive, answering the same questions, fulfilling the same orders, posting the same types of content, you automate or delegate those tasks. The businesses that scale are the ones where the owner systematically removes themselves from operations until they're only doing the work that actually requires them. When to outsource versus systematize. There are two paths to automation. Systematize it yourself or outsource it to someone else. Systematize when the task is simple, predictable, and can be handled by software or tools. Email automation. Use an email platform. Social media scheduling. Use a scheduling tool. Payment processing. Use a subscription billing service. Outsource when the task requires human judgment or effort but doesn't require your specific skills. Customer service. Hire a virtual assistant. Graphic design. Hire a freelance designer. Writing product descriptions. Hire a copywriter. The key question, does this task require me or just someone? If it requires you, your expertise, your vision, your decision-making, keep it for now. If it just requires someone who follows a checklist, train someone else to do it or find a tool that automates it. Most business owners stay stuck because they believe no one can do it as well as they can. That's ego talking. The truth is, most tasks don't need to be done perfectly. They just need to be done consistently. And consistent is what systems and people provide. Your 3 actions. Action 1. Pick your business model. Choose one: dropshipping, affiliate content site, or subscription-based service. Don't try to launch all 3. Pick the one that matches your skills and interests. If you like e-commerce and marketing, try dropshipping. If you like writing and SEO, build an affiliate site. If you have expertise people will pay for monthly, create a subscription offer. Research the basics of your chosen model. Watch a few tutorials. Read one guide. Understand the fundamentals before you build. Action 2. Set up one automated system. Pick one repetitive task in your business or future business and automate it this week. If you're building an email list, set up a 3-email welcome sequence that sends automatically when someone subscribes. If you're selling products, integrate your store with a fulfillment service so orders process without you. If you're creating content, batch create 5 pieces and schedule them to publish over the next month. Start small. Prove to yourself that automation works. Action 3. Test your first sale. Don't wait until everything is perfect. Get one product, one affiliate link, or one subscription offer live. Drive traffic to it. Run a small ad. Post about it on social media. Send it to your email list if you have one. Make your first sale. Even if it's $10, it proves the model works. Then iterate. Improve the offer. Improve the funnel. Automate more steps. But you can't improve what doesn't exist. Launch now. Optimize later. Automated online businesses take effort to build. But once they're running, they pay you while you're doing something else. And unlike a job, they don't cap your income. Scale the traffic, scale the systems, and the revenue scales with it. That's the power of building instead of trading time. Chapter 8. High-yield savings and bonds. Let's talk about the unsexy stuff. The boring assets. The ones that don't make headlines, don't promise 10x returns, and definitely won't make you look like a genius at a dinner party. But here's the thing, boring wins. High-yield savings accounts and bonds won't make you rich, but they will keep your money safe, grow it predictably, and pay you interest while you sleep. And when the market crashes, when crypto tanks, when your risky investments blow up, these assets sit there quietly, still paying you. That's not boring. That's smart. The boring assets that actually perform. High-yield savings accounts and bonds are the foundation of any balanced portfolio. They're not where you chase growth. They're where you preserve capital and earn guaranteed returns. High-yield savings accounts are exactly what they sound like. Savings accounts that pay significantly higher interest rates than traditional bank accounts. While a typical savings account might pay 0.01% interest, basically nothing, high-yield accounts pay 4 to 5% or more, depending on market conditions. You deposit money. It earns interest. You can withdraw at any time. There's no risk of losing your principal. It's FDIC insured up to a certain amount, meaning even if the bank fails, your money is protected. Bonds are loans you give to governments or corporations. You lend them money for a fixed period, maybe 1 year, maybe 30 years. In return, they pay you interest, usually twice a year. When the bond matures, you get your original investment back. Government bonds, like U.S. Treasury bonds, are backed by the full faith and credit of the government. Corporate bonds are backed by the issuing company. The safer the borrower, the lower the interest rate. The riskier the borrower, the higher the rate. Neither asset is flashy, but both deliver predictable, reliable income without the volatility of stocks or real estate. Treasury bonds, corporate bonds, and savings accounts. Let's break down the main types. Treasury bonds, government bonds. These are issued by national governments to fund operations and infrastructure. In the U.S., you have Treasury bills, short-term, under 1 year, Treasury notes, medium-term, 2 to 10 years, and Treasury bonds, long-term, 20 to 30 years. The interest rates vary based on term length, but they're considered the safest investments in the world. You're essentially lending money to the government, and they pay you interest for it. Corporate bonds. These are issued by companies to raise capital. They typically pay higher interest rates than government bonds because there's more risk. Companies can go bankrupt. Blue-chip companies, large, stable corporations, offer lower rates, but more safety. Smaller or riskier companies offer higher rates, but more volatility. You get paid interest regularly, and you get your principal back at maturity, unless the company defaults. High-yield savings accounts. These are offered by online banks and credit unions. Because they don't have the overhead costs of brick-and-mortar branches, they can afford to pay higher interest rates. Your money is liquid. You can access it anytime. It's safe, it's insured, and it grows steadily without you doing anything. When safety beats speculation, here's when you prioritize these assets over riskier ones. When you're building an emergency fund, you don't want your emergency money in the stock market. If the market crashes the same week you lose your job, you're screwed. Park 3 to 6 months of expenses in a high-yield savings account. It's safe, accessible, and earning interest while it sits there. When you're close to needing the money, planning to buy a house in 2 years, don't gamble that down payment in stocks. Put it in bonds or a high-yield account where it's protected and growing predictably. When you want guaranteed income, retirees love bonds because they provide steady, predictable income without the stress of market swings. You know exactly how much you'll get paid and when. When you need to balance risk, a portfolio that's 100% stocks is volatile. Add bonds and high-yield savings to smooth out the ride. When stocks tank, bonds often hold steady or even go up. Diversification isn't just smart, it's necessary. Safety isn't exciting, but it's the difference between weathering a financial storm and getting wiped out. Laddering strategies for consistent returns. Here's a strategy that makes bonds even more powerful: laddering. Instead of putting all your money into one bond that matures in 10 years, you spread it across bonds with different maturity dates. You buy a 1-year bond, a 2-year bond, a 3-year bond, a 4-year bond, and a 5-year bond. Every year, one bond matures. You get your principal back, and you reinvest it into a new 5-year bond. This creates a rolling cycle of maturity and reinvestment. Why does this work? Liquidity. You're never more than a year away from getting access to some of your capital. Interest rate protection. If rates go up, you can reinvest maturing bonds at higher rates. If rates go down, you're still locked into higher rates on your longer-term bonds. Consistent income. Every year, you're getting principal back plus interest payments from the bonds that haven't matured yet. It's a strategy designed for stability and predictability, perfect for people who want income without gambling. Your 3 actions. Action 1. Compare high-yield savings rates. Research online banks and credit unions offering high-yield savings accounts. Compare their current interest rates, fees, and minimum balance requirements. Look for accounts offering at least 4% APY, annual percentage yield, or higher. Make sure they're FDIC or NCUA insured. Pick one. Open an account this week. Transfer at least $500 to $1,000 into it as a starting point. Watch it earn interest passively. Action 2. Buy your first bond. Decide between government bonds and corporate bonds based on your risk tolerance. If you want maximum safety, start with treasury bonds. If you're comfortable with slightly more risk for higher returns, explore investment-grade corporate bonds. Research online brokers or government platforms where you can purchase bonds directly. Buy one bond, just one. A short-term bond, 1 to 3 years, is a good starting point. Hold it to maturity. Collect your interest payments. Learn how it works before scaling up. Action 3. Set up automatic transfers. Decide how much you can contribute monthly to your high-yield savings account or bond portfolio. $100? $200? $500? Set up an automatic transfer from your checking account to your savings account or brokerage account on the same day every month. Treat it like a bill you can't skip. This ensures you're consistently building your safe, income-generating foundation without relying on willpower. High-yield savings and bonds won't make you a millionaire overnight, but they will protect your capital, earn you guaranteed returns, and give you peace of mind when everything else is chaos. And in a world obsessed with hype and high-risk plays, that's an asset worth owning. Chapter 9. Intellectual Property and Licensing. Most people think you need to invent the next iPhone or write a blockbuster novel to make money from intellectual property. Wrong. Intellectual property, patents, trademarks, designs, formulas, processes, is everywhere. And if you own it, you can license it to others and collect royalties for years, sometimes decades. You don't have to manufacture anything. You don't have to fulfill orders. You don't have to manage inventory. You create or acquire the intellectual property, license it out, and collect checks while others do the heavy lifting. This is the asset class of inventors, creators, and people who figured out how to turn ideas into income streams. Patents, trademarks, and licensing deals. Let's start with the basics. Patents protect inventions, new products, processes, or technologies. If you invent a better mousetrap, a new type of battery, or a unique manufacturing process, you can patent it. That patent gives you exclusive rights to make, use, or sell that invention for a set period, usually 20 years. You can license that patent to companies who want to use your invention. They pay you royalties, and you never have to build a factory. Trademarks protect brands, logos, names, slogans, designs. If you create a recognizable brand identity, you can trademark it and license it to others. Think of how clothing brands license their logos to manufacturers, or how sports teams license their names and mascots to merchandise companies. Every hat, every t-shirt, every mug with that trademark generates royalty income. Designs and creative works can also be licensed. Maybe you designed a unique pattern, a character, a piece of software, or a signature process. Companies pay you to use it in their products or services. You retain ownership. They pay you a percentage of sales or a flat licensing fee. The beauty of licensing is this. You build it once, and others pay you to use it forever. How inventors and creators monetize ideas. Here's how it works in practice. An inventor creates a new type of phone case with a unique locking mechanism. Instead of manufacturing and selling it themselves, they patent the design and license it to phone accessory companies. Those companies produce and sell the cases. The inventor gets 5 to 10% of every sale as a royalty. The companies handle production, marketing, and distribution. The inventor just collects checks. A graphic designer creates a set of custom fonts. They license those fonts to design agencies, software companies, and individual users. Every license purchase pays them a royalty. The fonts were created once, but they generate income every time someone needs them. A software developer builds a niche tool, a plugin, an API, a software library. They license it to companies who integrate it into their own products. Every company using that tool pays a monthly or annual licensing fee. The developer maintains the software, but the licensing income scales without additional work. This isn't passive income in the do-nothing sense. There's upfront work, creating the invention, securing the patent or trademark, negotiating licensing deals. But once the deals are in place, the income flows with minimal ongoing effort. The upfront work that pays for decades. Let's be clear, intellectual property isn't a quick win. There's significant work on the front end. Creating the IP. You have to invent something, design something, or develop something that others will want to use. That takes time, skill, and often money. Protecting the IP. Patents cost thousands of dollars to file and maintain. Trademarks cost less, but still require legal work. If you don't protect your IP, someone else can steal it and profit from your idea. Finding licensees. You have to find companies or individuals willing to license your IP. That means pitching, negotiating, and often proving that your IP has commercial value. But here's the payoff. Once the work is done, the IP can pay you for decades. A patent lasts 20 years. A trademark can last indefinitely as long as you renew it. A well-negotiated licensing deal can generate royalties for the life of the product. You do the work once. You get paid for years. Real-world licensing income examples. Let's look at some realistic scenarios. Example 1. Product invention. An engineer invents a specialized tool attachment for power drills. They patent it and license it to a tool manufacturer. The manufacturer pays them a 7% royalty on every unit sold. The tool sells 50,000 units a year at $25 each. That's $1,250,000 in annual sales. The inventor earns $87,500 per year in royalties without manufacturing a single unit. Example 2. Software licensing. A developer builds a scheduling plugin for a popular project management platform. They license it to businesses for $15 per month per user. Over time, 300 companies adopt the plugin with an average of 10 users each. That's 3,000 users x $15 equals $45,000 per month in recurring licensing revenue. The plugin was built once. It generates $540,000 per year. Example 3. Design licensing. An artist creates a collection of illustrated characters. They license the designs to a greeting card company and a merchandise producer. The greeting card company pays a flat $10,000 per year licensing fee plus 5% royalties on card sales. The merchandise company pays 8% royalties on products sold. Combined, the artist earns $25,000 to $40,000 per year from designs they created over the course of a few months. These aren't lottery winnings. They're the result of creating valuable intellectual property and structuring deals that pay over time. Your 3 actions. Action 1. Identify something you can license. Look at your skills, knowledge, and creations. Have you invented something? Designed something? Built a tool or process that others could use? It doesn't have to be revolutionary. It just has to solve a problem or add value. Write down 3 ideas you could potentially turn into licensable intellectual property. Pick the one with the most commercial potential. If you don't have anything yet, brainstorm problems in industries you know and think about solutions worth patenting or trademarking. Action 2. Research licensing platforms or companies. Depending on what you've created, find where licensing deals happen. For inventions, research patent licensing platforms or industry trade shows where manufacturers look for new products. For software, explore marketplaces or direct outreach to companies that could integrate your tool. For creative work, look into design licensing agencies or companies that license art and patterns. Make a list of 5 to 10 potential licensees or platforms. Understand how they structure deals and what they look for. Action 3. Draft your first licensing pitch. You're not filing a patent or signing a deal today. You're just drafting a pitch. Write a 1-page description of your intellectual property. What it is, what problem it solves, why someone would want to license it, and what terms you're proposing, royalty percentage, flat fee, exclusivity, etc. Make it clear and compelling. Then send it to one potential licensee or post it on a relevant platform. The goal isn't perfection, it's starting the conversation. You'll refine your pitch as you get feedback, but you can't negotiate a deal you never propose. Intellectual property and licensing isn't for everyone. It requires creativity, legal knowledge, and the patience to navigate contracts and negotiations. But if you have an idea worth protecting, it's one of the few assets that can pay you for decades with minimal ongoing effort. You create it once. You license it forever. And the income keeps coming long after the initial work is done. Chapter 10. Business equity and profit sharing. Here's the ultimate shift. Stop working in a business. Start owning a piece of one. Business equity and profit sharing are how the wealthy build real wealth. They don't trade time for money. They own stakes in cash-flowing businesses that pay them whether they show up or not. You don't need to start the next Fortune 500 company. You don't need millions to invest. You just need to understand how ownership works and position yourself to own pieces of businesses that generate profit. This is the asset that separates the rich from everyone else. Owning a piece versus trading time. Let's start with the fundamental difference. Trading time. You work 40 hours. You get paid for 40 hours. You stop working, the money stops. You are the income. Your labor is the product. If you get sick, go on vacation, or quit, the income disappears. Owning equity. You own 10% of a business. The business makes $500,000 in profit this year. You get $50,000, whether you worked in the business or not. The business is the income. Your ownership is the product. The income flows to you as long as the business is profitable. See the difference? Employees trade time. Owners collect profits. Now, owning equity isn't purely passive. If you're actively running the business, you're working. But if you structure it right, if you own equity in a business that operates without you, you're earning income based on ownership, not effort. That's the goal. Silent partnerships and equity stakes. You don't have to start a business from scratch to own equity. You can buy into existing businesses or partner with operators who need capital. Silent partnerships work like this. Someone has the skills and hustle to run a business, but they need money to start or grow it. You provide the capital. They run the operations. You own a percentage of the business and receive a share of the profits. You're not involved in day-to-day decisions. You're just the money partner. Let's say someone wants to open a coffee shop. They have the experience, the location, the plan, but they need $50,000 to get started. You invest the $50,000 in exchange for 30% equity. The shop opens. After expenses, the shop generates $100,000 per year in profit. You get $30,000 per year as your share. You never made a single latte. Equity stakes can also come from buying into established businesses. Small businesses, restaurants, service companies, retail shops, online stores often sell partial ownership to raise capital or bring in partners. You buy a 20% stake in a profitable business for $100,000. The business generates $200,000 per year in profit. You receive $40,000 per year in distributions. That's a 40% annual return on your investment, and it keeps paying as long as the business is profitable. The risk? Businesses fail. Partners can mismanage. Profits can disappear. But if you do your homework, vet the business model, review the financials, trust the operators, you can build a portfolio of equity stakes that pay you year after year. How employees can negotiate profit sharing. You don't have to be an investor to own equity. Employees can negotiate ownership too. Many startups and small businesses offer equity or profit sharing as part of compensation. If you're joining a growing company, negotiate for stock options, equity grants, or profit sharing agreements. Equity grants. You're given shares in the company. If the company grows and eventually sells or goes public, your shares are worth money. Tech employees have built fortunes this way. Profit sharing. You receive a percentage of the company's annual profits in addition to your salary. The better the company performs, the more you earn. Some companies distribute profit sharing quarterly. Others do it annually. Performance-based equity. You earn equity based on hitting specific milestones, revenue targets, growth goals, project completions. The more value you create, the more ownership you gain. Even if you're not an executive, you can negotiate these terms. The key is positioning yourself as someone who drives revenue or saves costs. If you can prove you're increasing the company's profitability, you have leverage to ask for a piece of the upside. Employees who think like owners get treated like owners, and owners get paid differently than workers. Building or buying into cash-flowing businesses. There are two main paths to business equity. Build it yourself or buy into someone else's. Building. You start a business with the goal of eventually stepping back. You build systems, hire people, and remove yourself from daily operations. Once it's running profitably without you, you own an asset that pays you. This takes years, but the payoff is total ownership and control. Buying. You purchase equity in an existing, profitable business. This can be a silent partnership, buying shares in a private company, or even acquiring small businesses outright through business brokers. The business is already cash flowing. You're buying proven income. For most people, buying into cash flowing businesses is faster than building from scratch. You skip the startup phase, the trial and error, the years of grinding. You're buying a machine that's already working. The trick is finding the right opportunities. Look for businesses with consistent revenue and profit history, at least 2 to 3 years. Clear financials you can review, profit and loss statements, balance sheets. Operators who are competent and trustworthy. Industries you understand or can learn quickly. Businesses that don't rely entirely on one person to function. If a business falls apart the moment the owner steps away, it's not a business, it's a job. You want businesses with systems, teams, and processes that operate independently. Your 3 actions. Action 1. Evaluate one business opportunity. This could be a friend's startup looking for investors, a local business offering partnership opportunities, or a listing on a business for sale platform. Request financials. Ask questions. How much profit does it generate annually? What are the expenses? How much time does the owner spend running it? What are the growth opportunities? What are the risks? Even if you're not ready to invest, go through the exercise of evaluating the deal. You'll learn how to think like an investor instead of an employee. Action 2. Calculate potential returns. If you invested $25,000, $50,000, or $100,000 into a business opportunity, what would your annual return be? If the business generates $150,000 per year in profit and you own 20%, that's $30,000 per year. That's a 30% return on a $100,000 investment or 60% on a $50,000 investment. Run the numbers on real opportunities. Understand what kind of returns different equity stakes produce. This trains your brain to evaluate deals based on math, not emotion. Action 3. Negotiate your first equity deal or profit share agreement. If you're an employee, schedule a meeting with your boss or the company owner. Present your case. I've been driving X results and contributing Y value. I'd like to discuss profit sharing or equity as part of my compensation. Come prepared with data on your impact. If you're an investor, reach out to one business owner or entrepreneur in your network and propose a partnership. I have capital to invest. You have the expertise to run this. Let's structure a deal. Draft a simple term sheet. How much you're investing, what percentage you'll own, how profits will be distributed, and what happens if things go wrong. Get legal help to formalize it. But start the conversation. You can't own equity in a business you never propose investing in. Business equity and profit sharing are the most powerful wealth-building tools on this list. They're also the most complex, the most risky, and the most rewarding. You're not just earning income. You're building ownership in assets that compound in value and pay you for as long as they're profitable. And that's the ultimate asset, one that works, grows, and pays you, whether you're working or not. Conclusion. You now have 10 chapters and 30 action steps. Everything you need to build income that pays while you sleep is already in your hands. But here's the thing. Knowing and doing are 2 different things. Most people will read this, nod along, and never take a single action. Don't be most people. You don't need all 10 assets. Pick 2 or 3 that fit your situation and go all in. Maybe it's dividend stocks and digital products. Maybe it's index funds and rental real estate. Maybe it's royalty content and P2P lending. The combination doesn't matter. What matters is that you start building. 1 asset is better than 0. 2 assets give you diversification. 3 assets give you resilience most people never experience. So pick one. Complete the 3 actions at the end of that chapter. Then pick another. Stack them over time. Let them compound. Let them work while you sleep. Don't let this book become another thing you read and forget. The difference between where you are now and financial freedom isn't more information, it's execution. One last thing. So we built you a journal. A complete, structured guide designed to take everything you just read and turn it into real action. Your chosen assets, your monthly contributions, your first sales, your royalty tracking, your equity evaluations, all in one place. Not a summary. A transformation guide you work through at your own pace, in your own handwriting, on your own terms. The link is in the description. Financial freedom is closer than you think. The journal is how you prove it.